Sorry I was late. If anybody was sitting there, in fact, I was just trying to find my remote for the TV here so I could easily read the comments off of YouTube. At least make it a little bit easier on myself. So I imagine everybody probably left. Maybe I don't know. Maybe they actually went to notified. Hit the notification bell to see if this live comes out. But I do these lives usually spur of the moment. I don't try to. I don't know. I just don't try to plan topics because usually my schedule's all over the place, and if I plan it, then something's going to hold me up, and I'm not going to be able to, do the live feed. So what I'm kind of trying to talk about a little bit today is kind of about trucker weight loss. I've seen some uh, other YouTubers in the trucking community, talking about or complaining about weight and stuff and what they're doing about it, and it's not necessarily not necessarily anybody in, I guess, our little circle, or at least the little circle that I kind of deal with. It's just random YouTubers that are in the trucking community, and I kind of also wanted to get into mental health a little bit. I've had a few guys pop up on my feed that, well, a few of them are truckers, but some of them aren't. Like the one that popped up the other night on me was just some random. He's kind of like a gamer, but I mean, just talking about being a 30-year-old guy, 35-year-old guy, and either being isolated, like he lived out in Alaska, and he wasn't super isolated, but still, you're out in Alaska, you're even if you're in Anchorage, you can probably kind of be isolated, and just how to deal with those problems, and maybe put those demons aside, because especially with trucking, if you have a family and things continuously go wrong, and you have all that weight above your shoulders on you all the time, it can get to you, and it can knock you down. And there's a money aspect to it, a business aspect, but there's also a mental aspect to being successful also. And by all means, I am not the guru about this, but I just think maybe a lot of guys view it as kind of like being a pussy. All right, and to be blunt about it, and I'm not going to put my personal information out there too much, but I mean, just I just want to try to help out, maybe guide some people in a better direction to either success in their lives or even in their personal, you know, personal world, I guess. Let's call out some people here real quick because I see them popping in here. So we got Jerome Jones in the house. What's up, Big Money? I'm not necessarily big money. I'm just constant money, I guess you could say. That's what it is. There's probably guys that sometimes still doing $12,000 gross and stuff right now. So oh, we got big guy Sterling in the house, the man himself, the myth, the legend. Uh, I don't even know why he's here. He's enjoying the sun and the girls in the bikinis down there in like Miami and what is the Keys. He's lapping up the Florida sun. Let's see. Sterling here said, going on vacation and hiding from trucking improved my health. Yes, it can. Yes, it can. And that and it's not necessarily trucking per se, Sterling. It's everything that evolves around it. And this happens to anybody. This is why if you go in some of these live feeds, you'll have career cubicle people saying, "Hey, I got an itch in my nose." Career, and don't worry, I'm not doing anything. So you'll get career minded people that are like in office work or in the cubicles, and one day they'll just decide to quit and get their CDL and join the trucking world. They think it's like a freedom, almost like some people treat trucking as like hopping on your Harley and taking a ride, and it's not always like that, especially if you have a family and you have to support yourself and your family. If you're retired and stuff, that's another thing. It's like it can be like an RV life that you're paid for, but not necessarily. So, Yo, what's up with both feet? How's it going? Oh, let's see. Red lady's driving on her way home. Dallas traffic sucks. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed, it does. Dallas, Houston, and it was always kind of bad, but when you get, I don't know, how many people left California now? Like 32 million or something like that. When you get 32 extra million people, leave, that it turns into a big mess. Oh, let's see. We got somebody in here. We got WCS Invader in the house. Oh, let's add him to the stream. Yo, what's going on?
Yeah, go play.
Can you hear me?
Oh, Crush. I didn't realize you put me on. Hey, how you doing?
Yeah, what's up, WCF? All right.
Not a whole lot.
So you're enjoying home time?
Yeah, I'm on a dedicated run, so I'm home during the day, work at night.
Yeah. So what's
Staying
going
off
on?
Market as long as I can.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. So like I said, we're pretty much, the topic at hand is like, weight loss and mental health and trucking a little bit. So I guess that's what I'm going to try to, I don't know, put out there for some people. But it looks like you're already taking care of some of your mental health right there.
Exactly. Have you seen the video that DIY just uploaded? Well, it was this morning. Had to do with the new requirements for, I guess, the sleep apnea testing and stuff.
No, I did not. No, but that's kind of funny that I'm talking about it now. No, I didn't. It didn't even pop up on my feed or anything.
Yeah, I guess the guy that he had on, I think his name was Trucking with John. He was saying that if you go to the doctor, you get a strike against you already if you're a male. And then if you snore, you get another strike. And if you get 3 strikes, then they automatically send you to get sleep apnea testing.
Well, they also go after your BMI too. It depends.
Yeah.
And you got to think about it. Some of these doctors, they do all interlink with each other. They do get kickbacks on stuff. So I'm not saying that it's not a business, but it's a business a little bit, a lot of people snore. I know I snore. I know I'm a little overweight. My BMI is probably not the best either. Am I going to necessarily try to put that out there to a DOT doctor? Not really. I mean, if you're really legitimately having problems sleeping and you don't feel like, you're nodding off when you're driving, no matter what during the day, then yeah, maybe you should get that checked. There's other remedies you could try first. Fasting, maybe getting off carbs, sugars. That's a big thing that'll cause a lot of guys that complain about when they're just not, they're in the middle of the day and they're nodding off. It's usually, the problem is you're drinking sodas all day, you're eating carbs, and I'm not going to say I'm a doctor per se, but your blood sugar is like this all day, and that affects your metabolic rate and your glucose and everything, and it'll cause that. It's like the same reason, almost the same reason, like when you have Thanksgiving dinner, you pass out afterwards, and not turkey helps, the chemicals in turkey and stuff. But just when you have a large meal like that, it's the same thing. You'll have a rise in sugar levels, and it just it affects you.
Yeah.
Especially if you aren't healthy in general, which most truck drivers, their main course meal is depending where, like when they're home, a 6-pack of beer, a couple packs of Marlboros, and about like a 32-ounce jug of soda and stuff, and Big Macs. So
yeah,
it affects you more. Let's see. Sterling just said BMI first, plus trucking companies get a kickback for sending drivers to sleep studies. Yes, that is true. That is true. I've heard that too, because it tends to start making money. These doctors like referrals, just like any other company. With both feet, some of the comments from that video said it has been in place for a while, just not usually enforced. Yes, it has been in place for a while, and it, it necessarily wasn't enforced until they realized how much of a moneymaker it could really be. And I'm sure what happened also is, if you think about it, ELDs probably affected this a little more too, because I used to be on paper logs a lot. My starting days, I had companies that didn't want to use ELDs, they use paper logs. When you have paper logs and you like leave early or whatnot from somewhere, like let's say you start your day off and you're early. Well, if you get tired, you just pull over and you just change your paper log, to make up your hours if you have to, or you do have the liberty to pull over and take a break. Now it's not so bad now with the 8-2 split, but still, you still end up losing that work time. You lose out on some money with that 8-2 split. But having to race that clock affected a lot of people too.
Yeah, I'd argue that increased accidents for sure, because you can't quote unquote cheat, even though
and when you do get that, and when you do take your time because you're tired or you're sick or whatnot, that clock, it don't give a crap. It's still going. So then you start getting anxiety. You're like, oh man, I got to get there. I got to do this. If I don't get this far, I'm not going to be able to make this appointment. And then, dispatchers get on you, fleet managers. And, that's why you sometimes do see these company trucks that are larger companies that when the trucks aren't limited, these guys are flying around 80 mile an hour through snow squalls and stuff because they're racing the clock. They don't have that opportunity. They can't just pull over and wait 2 or 3 hours or whatnot, because they're not going to be able to make that time back up. Let's see. Little Neo Gamer, you will never be able to sustain that 4,000K a month truck payment. Well, first of all, we're not really talking about money, but I'm sustaining it pretty well. I have no problems paying it. It's when you're netting like $12,000, $15,000 a month, not really doing anything, and I'm not taking every day off. And if I want to, I can. I just have to take some money out of the savings and make up the truck payment.
Amen to that.
So it would be different if I was on the spot market. I will tell you that. I would be a total idiot if I did this on the spot market. I probably would end up living in this truck and running it, nonstop. I would have to, and I've done that. Even when I didn't have a large truck payment, I was there in the mornings on the load boards, sitting there for 4 or 5 hours, being like, "What the hell is going on here?" That stress and anxiety gets to you too. But I don't have that now. I am dedicated. I just do what I'm told pretty much. If I have something else I want to do, I can always ask them. And if it's within their means, yeah, I can go do something else, or I can take off, as long as it's not going to put a hurting on their operation. And, that's it. Yes, you are right about that. A paid in full truck is easy money, as long as you have the funds to take care of it when things go wrong. New Jersey ports. I guess he's running the New Jersey ports. Yes, you can do that. But like I guess let's go after weight loss first. All right, and it does go with mental health a little bit. All right, I will say that the one biggest reason that most truckers can't just stay in their truck and eat healthy food is because mentally they're yearning for the world outside the truck. When you go into Denny's and you sit down and you're eating and there's people around you and stuff and families and stuff, you feel like you're living a normal life. Maybe your family's not necessarily there, but at least you feel like, you're occupying yourself around other human beings. You're not just stuck in this truck. That is probably one of the biggest things that affects weight loss, I would say, is you end up going out there to find human connection or human bonding, I guess. I've seen it a lot. Like I've seen guys sit down, they'll come in the restaurant by themselves, truck drivers, and they'll just keep ordering plates of food because they're bullshitting with the other truck drivers around them, or they're bullshitting with, the waitress or something, because they ended up associating eating with connecting to people, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I hope I'm not putting words in Snorlord's mouth, but I believe he's a big fan of the fasting, and that's what I do. Like, especially if I'm, well, before I was dedicated, whenever I'd be living out of the truck for a week at a time, especially whenever I was driving, I wouldn't eat until I shut down for the day. Like, I'd normally eat one meal, maybe a very small breakfast in the morning, and I would always lose a little bit of weight that way. And definitely don't eat at the truck stops. Bring food.
Yeah, not only will now if you go to like what is it, PJ Fresh and stuff, and you eat some stuff from that little section and stuff, that's fine. It's still expensive.
Yeah.
At least it's fresh, because a lot of times if you have like a regular trucker fridge and you try to put a salad in there or something, you're just not going to have room for anything else, and it's just it's just a real pain in the butt. But I mean, if you can at least, if you end up having to go in a truck stop, don't pretend nothing else is there, and go for the healthy alternatives. The biggest thing I would say, if you're going to try to start losing weight as a truck driver, you are going to have to start out fasting. There's no
Yeah.
answer. As soon as you can overcome those first maybe day or so of fasting, and that ghrelin, I guess they call it ghrelin, and the hunger pains, and the almost the mental, where you start tasting food in your mouth and stuff. As long as you can overcome that first, the rest is a cakewalk. All right. Get yourself some water. If you need some kind of flavoring, get yourself, like I use these half and halves for flavoring. Make sure they're not sugar in them or anything. Luckily, these don't have aspartame either. I try to stay away from that stuff too, especially when I found out how it was manufactured. And it's you just gotta put yourself in that zone and kind of just forget about soda and stuff. And you know what? After a while, when you quit drinking soda and high sugars, you'll initially feel better. Even mentally, you'll feel better, not only physically. But you have to at least get through that first fast for a few days until you can start weaning yourself into a better diet. And also a big thing is a lot of guys will go home, they'll eat with their family and have a normal meal or something, or they'll go out and have a pizza. And as soon as they do that, they think, "Oh man, I screwed up. Well, might as well just give up on my diet and keep going." It it's not necessarily, well, it is, but it's not necessarily about the kind of food you eat. If you end up having a cheat day or something, just remember it. Hey, I ate 1,000 calories of pizza the other day. Maybe I should go out and have 1,000 calories of hot wings the next day. Just continue on your diet. Just keep going. Pretend it didn't happen. Watch, if you like. Let's say if you're trying to get your dog to lose weight, do you go find keto meals for your dog and all kinds of stuff and weight loss bars and shit? No, you just curve his food and exercise.
Yeah.
And either way, even if you're not exercising, you're still burning calories, as a truck driver, especially if you're a flatbedder.
I don't know if this will help anyone, but one thing that helped me with the fasting, especially while I'm driving, because I used to eat chips while I drive. I got an ice maker.
All the way till the bag was empty, right?
Yeah, exactly. But I got an ice maker. I got it between the passenger seat and driver's seat, and then if I get hungry while I'm driving, I'll literally start eating ice. My dentist hates it, but at least you're not eating calories.
Let's see, like pork rinds. Pork rinds are great. You got to watch them a little bit, but usually, even when they're flavored and stuff, they're not the best, like healthy, but there's no real calories in them, and at least you have that sensation you're putting your stuff in your mouth. A lot of times when you're hungry, and especially if you're a truck driver, the big reason you're hungry is this: your body associates hunger with thirst. Make sure you drink 2 or 3, 4 bottles of water a day. Sure, you might in the beginning you might start pissing a lot, but it eventually will subside. Let's see here. Nomadic Brit. Uh, See, I have a big fridge, and I always stock up with meat. Yes, yes, that too. I'm going to eventually get around putting a freezer, like a little chest freezer that fits under my bed in here, because a typical trucker fridge,
Yeah, too small.
you could have like normal fridge stuff in it, but to be able to like make real meals to keep foods fresh, you got to freeze it. My other truck, I put a 3.6 cubic inch fridge in it. It actually had like the freezer in that fridge is about as big as my trucker fridge. Uh, do I use it fast? You know why I don't get into all those apps and stuff? Here's why. Because when you do, and I say, and you end up cheating, it stares you in the face, and then you get, it starts eating at you mentally, and next thing you know, like I went off the rocker a little bit because I went home for Super Bowl, and let's just say everything there was carb. It was a carb overload, like, you know, and you start saying, "Oh man, I went off my rocker," and you kind of just give up on it. Then you said, "Oh, I screwed up already. I might as well just continue going." Well, when you have an app like that, now you actually see how much you screwed up. You're fully in it. It's almost like when you take a test, like if you take a school test. If you end up taking a test and you kind of study and stuff, and you're not really worried and stressed about it, and you pass, that's great. But if you end up like working real hard at it and you still end up failing, it's devastating. It's like the freaking end of the world, because you took all that time and effort and put it into that, and then the app tracks it in front of you. So I mean, it's really, you just got to think about it. Calories in, calories out. If you're not doing anything, you can't eat like 20,000 pizzas. Go don't go in the truck stop and order a large pizza and finish it. You just ate
Yeah.
4,000 calories, and then you usually drank what, a 32-ounce soda too on top of it. There's another 1,200 calories or something. You're eating 5 or 6 people's day in calories in one sitting, and then you're wondering how you're not losing weight.
Yeah, I don't use the fasting app either. I think it's more like common sense. Like if you know when you're eating too much.
That's more for, I want to say, normal people that basically their daily schedule's too chaotic and they got too many meetings to get to and stuff. That's where that might help out a little more.
I'd agree.
This is more, you're isolated from everybody. You got to just focus on yourself, you know. And like I said, it's also that mental state. As soon as you fail, and you have nobody really to support you. You don't have you don't have like your wife or your girlfriend to come over to you like say, yeah, it's all right. Here's some broccoli and some pieces of celery. You'll be all right. There is none of that. That's just you in the truck. And next thing you know, you're like, oh man, you go buy, even though it's like shitty Arby's or something when you're hungry, you're just like, I want to stop and get some Arby's. It's right there. It's Flying J there. I want to go in there and get me, I don't know, roast beef, large roast beef, big soda. You get yourself some poppers. And then you just continue on that path, and you just fall off the rocker, and that's how that goes. Let's see, Nomadic Brit, WBF. I think he meant to say WC.
Yeah, I think he said. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
Little Neo Gamer. A lot of piss bottles along Route 80. I'll get into that. I don't want to get, but you know what? Look, all right. So we're all full adults here. I don't know if this is going to be advertiser friendly now, but look. So let's say you do go get a drink. All right. Of course, you go purchase. You don't use one of these. If you can fit your crap in there, obviously you probably have not procreated with anybody in a long time. All right, and you get something that your tool fits into. All right, so when you do use it, there's things you can put in it, cleaners or tablets to keep the bottle clean. When you're done or it gets full, you keep one bottle, because as soon as you get more than one bottle, you end up collecting them, and then you get tired of having them around and you throw them on the roads. I've seen guys pull like 5 out at a time. I'm like, what the hell are you doing? But you keep one bottle, preferably like like a half a gallon. And believe me, you can probably fill up a half a gallon in a day sometimes, or 2 days. If you're well, especially if you're actually drinking what you're supposed to drink. You pull the hell over on the side of the road. You dump it out, throw some water through it. You can buy little tablets that you can put in them, and there you go. You're not pissing all over the ground on a truck stop, just like the guy in front of me is trying to fix his truck. He has no idea what kind of crap he's sitting in right now. you know, uh, keep your area clean. You live in the truck stop practically. Why shit and piss where you live? You know, uh, if you're in the truck stop, you get out. You're already walking out behind the trailer anyway. Walk the extra 30 feet or 40 feet to the back of the trailer and dump it out in the grass.
Yeah.
That's that. I know it's kind of stupid to have to kind of say that or teach people on how to do that. But don't use these. To be honest, I actually found out in my last live feed why I keep finding these in the freaking bathroom. And that's freaking utterly disgusting because I can't remember if I've ever picked these up to clean the bathroom up. But now I found out what they're used for. I will never probably, I don't know, touch a truck stop bathroom again. I don't know.
Do I want to ask?
Apparently, I guess they use these for like a makeshift bidet.
What?
Yes. Yes. So that's why when you see these all over the place and you see water and stuff all over the ground sometimes, they're using these for like a makeshift bidet.
I did not know that.
Yeah, so do not touch them.
Oh,
They're either been like by there or under there. They clean cracks and they clean flaps. You know what I mean? So
I got you.
yeah. Like I said, I was trying to make this a little professional, but sometimes you just got to put it out there. All right. Let's see. Braddock Britt. I took a passenger seat and have a dorm fridge. Yep. Took out the passenger seat and have a dorm fridge. Yep. Yeah. Or you can take out the cabinets and stuff too.
That's easier said than done in a Freightliner.
Yeah. I mean, it can be. It can be done. And you can, Freightliner, what I used to do is I would take, what did I used to do? I used to take the cabinet out underneath, where the fridge used to be. Yeah. And I would take the cabinet out underneath the fridge. And you'd still have the cabinet up above for, your microwave. And I would sit the fridge on top of, I guess that when it opens up where everyone usually puts their boots up, and I would sit it in between there and then strap it down. You just screw the straps right into the bottom of the cabinet, and you could fit a 3.6 cubic inch fridge in there easily, and it kind of looks pretty good too. It looks like it's almost supposed to be there. Oh, I think we might have lost WCF. Little Neo Gamer. Beef jerky, decent truck stop snack. The problem about beef jerky is if you actually look at the back of most beef jerky, unless you get like the old school beef jerky, like Wild Bill's and stuff, and there's a lot of salt in it. A lot of there's a lot of sugar, in beef jerky, a lot of sugars and stuff, and that's like. Now if you just go and get the old school beef jerky that's really dry, like actual cowboy beef jerky, that's a little bit better. But then usually what happens is it makes you thirsty, and if you don't already have water, next thing you know, you're drinking 64 ounces of Pepsi and Coke and everything else, and you just defeated the whole purpose of what you're trying to do here. All right, I guess he'll end up coming back. I guess here maybe in a while. Let's see, Little Nemo Gamer. Nice weather. I've been seeing more trucks with little barbecue grills. Yes, that. I remember specifically when I was at Prime when I first started out. I had a trainer that had a barbecue, like a legit barbecue grill. He took, had a propane bottle and everything, and he put it underneath the flatbed and actually pulled it out like a drawer. He pulled two pins and the grill would come out, and he would cook steaks and all kinds of stuff on it. Like, the more homegrown cooking you can do that's not like taking pre-made meals out and stuff, unless you're doing like the simply Simply Healthy meals and stuff like that. I mean, they got some stuff in them too, but as long as you can keep your portions right and cook homegrown meals, that's the best way to go. With both feet. There you go. Tillamook brand of jerky has no sugar options. Yep, added sugar. It's probably added sugar. But like I said, what is it? I think there's. I don't know if it's called Outlaw. I know Wild Bill's is pretty. Doesn't have too much, like hardly any sugar in it. It's mostly like a salt. It's like a cowboy jerky, like an actual just dried piece of meat. The same thing with. There's another brand that's out of Oklahoma. I forget the name of it, but it's the same thing. It's like a dried piece of jerky. Some nuts are good for you, but some of them can, be high in carbs and stuff. It's really about moderation when you get to that. But like I said, 9 times out of 10, if you're driving, the reason you're hungry really is because you have not drank enough water. All right. And the more, especially even just the more water you can put into you, the more full your stomach will be anyway. And plus, when you saturate your stomach with water, anything you eat, it'll expand, and when it expands, you feel fuller longer. Uh, so that's what I've come to find out, and that's what I've kind of been told by my doctor before. Let's see, little Neo Gamer. I like your video about the state of trucking. You got great channel. I think it's gonna catch on sooner, grow once it gets more exposure. Yeah, I mean, I guess it will. I mean, I'm not really trying to be big because I know when you get big, you got to start. I mean, I can follow the no cursing and stuff, but I mean, I just don't kind of want to. I don't want to get into that marketing mentality that a lot of channels have gotten into when they're bigger. Um, I think most people listen to like, look, all right, whether you're uh, whether you're political or not, the big thing everyone hopped like Trump, even if you're a Democrat or not. A lot of people said the thing they liked about Trump is he was relatable. He talked, he just said what was on his mind. He didn't try to go into some kind of dialogue and be all professional and stuff. I just noticed. I think my CB might be broken. I just noticed the plug is like pulled away from the 4-pin connector I have on there, and I think it's probably broken. Kind of want to go try to fix it here, but I wonder when the hell that happened. All right. Well, anyway, like I was saying, when you can be more relatable, that tends to get through to people a lot better. You know, when you get in front of the podium and you just say your lines and then you just walk off and open the door and walk out and don't try to communicate with anybody, that's a different story. People see that, and I kind of don't want to get into that like fake persona per se. I'm not saying that I can't be professional. I'm just saying I don't want people to think that I'm always trying to sell them, the next load board or the next factoring company or something. I mean, if I necessarily got approached and I researched about the company, maybe had them, let me talk to people that've used them or whatnot, or maybe I've used them, sure. But other than that, money's not really going to buy me off. Have I come out to Jersey recently? Well, that one video I put up about the ticketing, and stuff, that was what, a couple of weeks ago or a week or so ago. That was out in Jersey there. Um, most of the time I try to stay out of Jersey because if I get scheduled to go over to Jersey, it's really short runs, less than 100 and some miles. So I make okay money, but it's not like, if I go down to like Virginia or North Carolina, because I'm paid mileage pay. I kind of get paid a set daily pay if I go, short runs. But what I was trying to say too about weight loss is it's a big mental game. Um, like I said, you got to be able to keep yourself communicated with your family, your friends, even if you can just stay communicate with people on YouTube. Like I said, because then you will want to go into these restaurants and try to, you'll just eat just to have, a sense of normalcy. And that's the biggest problem with that. It's okay if you do it maybe like maybe on your 34-hour break, you do it once and you don't get like 5 pizzas or something or go to a buffet. But it's just to keep continuously do it like every day or every other day. That's when you start having problems, and then you also start building up a craving to food, not only the taste but the carbs. Your body does get addicted to this stuff, and there is stuff in the food that is addictive, especially when you're eating like processed food. Yeah, the salts, it causes a dopamine reaction, and you build it, you end up becoming accustomed to that. Now, I guess another thing that goes in hand with that, like I said, is your mental attitude about things, especially guys, middle-aged guys, and especially if you have a family and stuff, and everything's because trucking's really hard right now. All right, for most guys out there, trucking is hard, and that mental anguish weighs on you. Um, the best thing you can do about that is it's more like you gotta face it like a battle. Like you're at a battle. You might win or lose the battle, but you haven't lost the war. The minute you start looking at it as like you're trying to, each battle is going to determine your outcome for the entire war, that's when you start losing hope, I guess you could say, or sight on what you're trying to accomplish. Whether that be, you're having problems keeping your weight down, or whether or not you're having problems keeping the money coming in, and you know supplying your family with money to take care of your bills and stuff. Also, a big thing that'll probably help you mentally is if you have a wife at home, and let's say you might not have a lot of connections or maybe people to talk to that you wouldn't want to rely the information that maybe you're not succeeding 100%. Do not tell your wife everything, or your significant other, or girlfriend, or boyfriend. Whatever you want to do in your truck, that's your business. Um, but do not tell your significant other everything, because when you do that, you're now sure you might have took a weight off your shoulders, but now you put it on theirs also, and they got to start worrying, and then they'll put more pressure on you, and it's just a vicious cycle. And that's also too about trucking. Just because you're not necessarily home all the time, there is that relationship connection. But when things go wrong and you're not bonding with your significant other, and then you just keep telling, like, oh, this I had a tire blowout, and I might not have the money to, and the engine's making a weird noise and stuff. When you start doing that and you start making your problems her problems, sure, you might be able to, be able to get a little stress off yourself, but now you're putting it on her, and it just turns into a vicious cycle. And then they apply stress to you because there's, she's worried about bills at home, and you're just trying to concentrate what you got in front of you right now. That I see that happen to a lot of guys. I never see too many truckers actually come on YouTube and break down. To be honest, probably the closest thing you ever seen a trucker probably at breakdown point is when I was sitting there freezing in the truck when I blew the engine. I didn't want to go get a hotel. Now that wasn't because I couldn't afford a hotel. That was because I was trying to think far enough ahead that, hey, if I spend maybe $200, $300, $400 on this hotel sitting around here for a day or two, well, I need that $300 or $400. That's what I was thinking. I wasn't thinking, I'm broke. I was just thinking, will that money maybe go towards something that'll keep my business running? Can I really survive without having a hotel? That's how that happened. But there are guys out there that I've heard stories where guys will break down and they're stranded, they're stuck, they don't have fuel money, things like that, and stuff like that gets to you, especially if it's repeatedly. Like you keep having breakdown after breakdown and stuff, and you have nobody to communicate your frustration with. Because, like I said, if you do it with your significant other, well, it's gonna just boomerang back to you 10 times fold usually. Uh, let's see. Little Neo Gamer, I pull a bar is good to work out. Yes. If you look, I have a few videos. Well, no, I have a short. You pull the bed down, you take your shoes off, put them against this wall, and you just start doing pull-ups. You leg lifts. If you lay down in bed and you just hold your legs up, works your quads. I mean, yeah, your quads, your abs, and everything. It works your calf muscles, and it gets your heart moving. That too. If you're always just sitting here in the truck on YouTube, your mental well-being will slowly decrease. Whether you're on YouTube saying, "Man, I wish I could build my trucking career up like that," or something like that, you'll start idolizing people and things. Not only not only will you end up doing that, but just being sitting, not getting your heart rate up, your body becomes accustomed to that, and that also affects you mentally too. If you just get out and walk a nice sunny day and just walk around, look at things, maybe stop bullshit with a few truck drivers. That'll help your mental well-being and your weight loss so much than just sitting here dwelling on, your career, your life, your relationship, because that's all you're gonna do. You're gonna be between these four little walls, and all you have is yourself. And like that it just eats at you after a while. Especially when things are going bad. I know from personal experience. All right, I'll say it. It's not necessarily like I was ready to hang the rope up and climb on in there and put my neck in it, but it was to the point where I could tell it was affecting my relationship and how I thought. That too. There's a lot of truck drivers that if they're not having problems at home, if it ain't the old lady, it might be them that they're trying to run away from that stress and anxiety because they have to. Um, what do you want to call it? Be the breadwinner. They have the responsibilities of keeping the family together and the bills paid. So sometimes when you get like that, you get anxiety, you get depression, and you start trying to push that away because it becomes easier for you to just push that all away and then just go drive truck. You just push it all away, drive truck. You send a check home, when the government asks for it, and now you think you've gotten rid of that extra stress, that extra weight off your shoulders. You're just going to have a different version of it. The truck's going to break down. Now you got to actually pay that bill and everything else. I've seen guys do that too, where they just run away from their family when things get tough, either in trucking or with their family. Um, at the parts, nobody speaks English anymore. Well, what do you expect? That's primarily what what are driving most of the trucks anymore. Which I don't get it. All right, I kind of don't. I'm just gonna get off of this tangent real quick here, just because little Neo Gamer even said something about it. If I went over to Mexico, trust me, especially if I was to stay there long term, I would end up speaking Spanish. All right, I would either learn a good amount of it to communicate, or I would end up learning it very fluently. Same thing, well, Portuguese and stuff. I was gonna say Brazil or something. But yeah, I would probably end up learning Portuguese really fast. I will tell you one reason why. Those goddamn Brazilian women. All right. But before we get off on that tangent, yeah, I don't really know. There's so many helping hands to take care of that. I don't think it's not necessary. People can not learn it, not learn English, or even want to take. I think it's gotten to the mentality where they think that if they do learn English, that they're being oppressed, or why should I, or I don't know. I think it's gotten to that mentality. I think the media's made it so screwed up that it's gotten to that point. But anyway, before we get off on that, and then before people think I'm like a political bigot and stuff, I'm not. I'm very open with usually most political, as long as they make common sense. I'm more of a common sense guy. If something makes common sense, then I can get behind it. If it doesn't make common sense, then I'm sorry. No matter what affiliation you are or whatever, I'm like kind of like a black and white kind of you know, there's a little bit of a gray area, but mostly everything's, you start veering off and making 20 different versions of something, you end up having other chaos. Here, let's go. Little Neo Gamer said, I find that it's harder to stay fit, OTR. That's another reason I went intermodal work local. Okay, Anthony. Yeah, well, I don't know. I just assumed maybe you liked, well, I don't know, either like playing Pokemon or, like Nintendo. I mean, there ain't nothing wrong with that. Uh, but like I said, okay, so on my feed, I had this gamer guy. He's like 35 years old. Like I said, he was in Alaska, and he's depressed and stuff, and he just feels like the world's against you. And you know what, men have that. I mean, there's a lot of feminists come on and beat their drums and everything, and the women have their problems, but primarily when things happen, men come to protect the women. It's always been like that. Yeah, there's evil people in the world. The most monsters that people ever speak about are really people. It's just that. But that being said, the way the world works with technology and stuff, it's really hard for men anymore. Either relationship wise or just communicating with other people. I'm not saying that from experience, but I mean, I have experienced it probably earlier in life and stuff through some things. I can see how technology and the way social media has affected guys. I am a little bit into that. You got that alpha male mentality and you got that simp mentality and everything. I might not necessarily agree with everything Andrew Tate says, but a lot of it, when he does get in those rants about the male ego and what really how society was always set up and why we have different sexes and everything and our responsibilities to each other. When he gets about, yeah, I think he has it pretty much spot on. And in fact, most of the stuff, I think he has it pretty much spot on. And the sad thing though is I do see him pushing people the other way and then just using women for your party toy. But society keeps pushing that. Social media and everything. But I mean, there are things you got to be able to pick out. If you go off the deep end, then that's one thing. But I mean, if you can pick out and have some common sense, some stuff Andrew Tate puts out is good. Like Joe Rogan, some of his motivational things. I know Dwayne Johnson. I don't necessarily agree with all these people's political things, but usually some of their life advice is rather good. They've had some shitty moments in their lives, and they were able to get out of it. Rig Pig. Resistance bands. Yes, kind of like big rubber bands are good. You won't get buffed. You won't get buffed, but they will help you keep it fit. Bonus points. They are cheap and don't take up a lot of space. Yes. You can put them out in front, hook them to your bumper and stuff. Resistance bands are very good. In fact, Freightliner. I think Freightliner, if I remember on that a few years back, Freightliner actually debuted a weight like a resistance band exercise set. I mean, I wouldn't buy it because it's probably going to be expensive, but you can just get you can get all kinds. You can go on Amazon and find all kinds of different forms of resistance bands. I don't know. Maybe I'll make my own little exercise equipment for trucking. I don't know. If I end up getting big enough, but it's just anything. Doing something better than just sitting there staring at the ceiling or watching shorts or TikTok or if you're into TikTok and stuff. By the way, if you're into TikTok, they're learning everything about you on your cell phone and taking all your data. All right, it is. If you don't care and all you do is look at okay. Now that I just thought of that, you guys want to hear something very, very hilarious. So I know I said about when you find the water bottles in the bathrooms, that's amazing. All right. So if you the one picture I have of that large truck driver, let's just say emptying his spigot. All right, you can go look up fat truck driver emptying their spigot and stuff, and apparently there's a whole genre, whatever genre of fetishes involving truck drivers emptying their spigots and uh, having no clothes on around their truck and stuff and rubbing their bellies and stuff. I I don't know which side of the fence it's on or what it goes towards, but it's out there. It's almost making me think maybe I should start an OnlyFans. Hey, if they're only pictures, money can go a long way. So, but I can't believe that. All you have to do is just Google it, Google images, and you'll find some very disgusting imagery that I cannot believe. I just can't believe that fetish is out there. But hey, I guess to all their own. Uh, let's see. Anthony says, "Do you have an Instagram page?" No, I've never. I'm more of a late '90s, 2000s. Instagram came kind of late for me in high school. I do Facebook. I mean, I might end up making a Facebook page, I guess, if I get big enough or feel that it might be helpful. The problem is, though, I don't want to have to babysit it because if I do it, I want like an open community, and I don't need guys coming in there throwing up random pictures of stuff and fighting all the time and stuff. Like for God's sakes, all of us are all 21 years or older. Like this is like worse than high school shit. Like the shit I get with my eyes sometimes. I mean, nobody even knows what's going on with it, and I'm not going to share it out there because I'm just going to leave it a mystery. But for God's sakes, uh, you don't know me. You don't know what I've done. You don't know what may have happened. Yeah, I might have got kicked in the head with it by a jackass, or I might have took freaking mortar shrapnel in Fallujah. You have no idea. Just keep your mouth shut. Do you like the information I'm giving? If you don't, unsubscribe, find a different channel. It's that easy. I don't know why everyone has to feel that they need to get their jollies off coming after people to make themselves feel better. But like I said, some of this, I mean, I'm trying to stay on track, but some of this is all related to mental health. All right, and like I said, weight loss is related to mental health and everything. Um, I didn't really come up with it. This is all off the cuff. I don't come up with you know line items and stuff. I mean, if I had probably a Wi-Fi router and I had my other phone or laptop, I might start bringing up points and making not like a PowerPoint, but yeah, I would probably try to make it a little more professional and not off the client, not be jumping all over the place. Because I know a lot of people don't want to watch these live feeds for an hour. Usually, if I've ever listened to a live feed, usually I'm listening to it like a podcast. So, uh, I would have to say some of the biggest, also it helps when a guest is on because I would say the biggest thing you can do is bounce ideas and conversations off people. That's why DIY and Cash do so good. They have that, they're able to keep the subject moving in a different direction and have a little fun with it. That's the best thing about their live feeds, and it doesn't get dull. You don't keep hearing my voice. I don't have to keep repeating myself because I forgot what I said before earlier. Let's see, Rig Pig. No doubt, no doubt about what. Oh man, maybe you're talking about the Instagram and stuff. Um, maybe I will, but like I said, like the Instagram. When I see guys post on Instagram, they have a lot of pictures and stuff. They're usually flatbed guys, or they go a lot of places. I'm primarily, like I said, I'm dedicated. I don't do nothing really fancy or jazzy. I knew as soon as I came out of flatbed is so easy to document and make a great YouTube channel. Um, all I really have to give out now are my ideas. It's the same truck every day. It's pretty much the same trailer. You might have hot dogs on it one day or chicken nuggets on the side of it the other. It's the same stuff. Um, So that too, that gets to people too. Repetitiveness, that can affect your mental well-being, because then you start getting bored with your job, and even if it pays well, you'll make uncalculated risks. Trucking in general is a calculated. Well, I wouldn't even say it's a calculated risk. It's a risk. There's a lot of luck involved in trucking. I know anybody that's watching this and they watch my videos and they want to become a truck driver or an owner operator. Think about why you're doing it. If you're coming in this and you're saying you're coming in it to make money, what kind of money? I mean, everyone comes in this to make money. What kind of money are you planning to make? Are you able to satisfy your hunger for money? So I see a lot of people that come from these low end jobs. They get into trucking because it's pretty much pushed. They're pushed into it. It's like fed to them. Instead of them actually going to a technical school and learning valuable skills, trucking is fed because these mega carriers need to keep drivers going. It's not that there's a trucking shortage. Like I said, there's a pay shortage and everything. They have their set rate that they pay and their set rate that they make, and they don't go off of that very much. And to keep the wheels turning, they need recruiting going on. So when you get into trucking, you got to think about what kind of money long term. Do you want to put up with the hassle uh, of having employees, starting a fleet? And everybody thinks they want to start a business. Maybe you might be better off with what talents you already have, doing something else. Maybe just using trucking as a stepping stone, make the better wage, and then get out of it. Uh, go back to being home with your family and stuff. Uh, people automatically think this is like the whole internet marketing craze. They think that they're going to get in this, they're going to just drive the truck, not have to worry about anything, and they're going to make fifteen to $20,000 a month. And there's a lot more involved in that. It's not just it's not like being. People think this is like a union job. They get into like union carpeting, union pipe work and stuff, and that you just make your $50, $60 an hour, and you're golden. That's not trucking, and it's not. If you already have money problems usually, and you think trucking's going to fix them, it's just going to make them bigger because now you're dealing with bigger numbers. And there's a whole psychic, and the sun's probably blinding me, or drowning me out. But let me see if I can't fix that real quick. Good. I guess also I fixed my radio too. I guess the thread on it, because I have a unit in, so it's a 4-pin. The fine mics are all 4-pin mics. So I had a connector that I had for a long time, and I guess it finally cracked. Luckily, the wires are nice and thick and they're soldered really well. So I'm gonna have to get some super glue and probably super glue that so it doesn't slide off there. But anyway, let's go to some of these comments here before I just babble off on all kinds of stuff. Let's see, Rig Pig. People out of mine, they own businesses. Are you trying to say like the people that get these lease purchases and think they automatically become a CEO or a CFO or whatever? I think that's big, kind of what you're trying to put out there. Let's see. Anthony says, "What kind of engine you gonna get for that international?" I kind of don't want to get an ISX. I know everyone loves their ISX. Look, okay, so as long as you had somebody already take care, like if you bought your ISX new and you took care of it, or you're one of the lucky ones, I'll say that there is luck to some of that. That's great. Keep your ISX, do your thing. Don't tell me that ISXs are the best and everything. That's great. Me personally, every ISX I've owned, they've all been used, but from I've blown up ISXs from all the way down from 280,000 miles all the way up to now we're at 600 and some thousand miles. Every IX I've had is blown up. I change the oil between 15 and 20,000 miles. I use good oil. I go to Speedco very rarely, unless I have to. I use TA or I change the oil myself. I use, what the heck was I using there? The T4 or T5 semi-synthetic Rotilla. I use brand name filters. It just happens. All right. And plus everybody already knows all the other problems. The cams are soft and stuff. Whoever Cummins is, well, first of all, I'll tell you this: if you go on Alibaba, you will find actual Cummins stuff that's made for Cummins that you pay kind of the Cummins price for it, but you got to buy it in bulk. All right. Cummins does a lot of stuff overseas. They do a lot of manufacturing in China. And even then, you can buy non-brand affiliated stuff off Alibaba for Cummins. You gotta watch where you're getting it from, but most of it's the same stuff that they're sending over, sending across and stamping Cummins. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't anything that's made in the U.S. for Cummins, but you know what? To be honest, though, that's for a lot of stuff. But I mean, I'm sure there are probably other manufacturers where a lot of the components are either made in the U.S. or made in Europe or whatnot. So I don't know if that's a problem, but look, Cummins has to get on the ball. But the biggest thing is I'm starting to think a lot of manufacturers are getting lazy because they don't have to, they aren't competing with anybody. They're not compete. Their competition has gotten so small that either they're networking with each other, or they just don't have no competition. So they could care less. They could care less if their name gets dragged through the money. Sure. 1 year their sales might go down a little bit, but when that's all you have, that's all you have. And I think that's kind of like what's happened to Cummins now. Back in the day when you had Detroit, you had International made their own engines. You had Cat. Yeah, who else was it? I guess you did have Volvo too there for a while. You had Mack. You had all these other engine manufacturers, and it was just if you didn't compete and make a good product, it could hurt you. Well, those days I think are long gone. Like I said, we're kind of getting off topic here a little bit, but it's all right. WCF Invader. Sorry, broker called. I dropped me out. That's fine. That's fine. Don't worry about it, man. I do see some guesses here. I'll get to you in a second. Rig Pig. No, that was in reference to people asking, what happened to your eye. Whoever it applies to, a whole lot of stuff. Yeah, it could apply to a whole lot of stuff. And I just don't. What does that even matter? Is it affecting you personally? I could see if I was like, I'm not trying to make fun of it, but I'm just saying if I was like this, maybe somebody might ask like, "Hey, how are you driving?" And stuff like that. But I could have a patch and still technically drive. I could have no legs and still technically drive. It's I don't know why. It's and they're not asking the question per se, and they're making fun of it for whatever freaking reason it bothers them for. I don't know. Let's see. I'm busy trucking. Cummins has put a lot of out of business. Yes, they have. But then again, they have kept a lot in because, like I said, their network is huge. You can go anywhere and have a Cummins repaired. But there's also a problem with that too, guys. When you just give anybody access to your software, everybody can say, "Yeah, I'm Cummins. I know everything about Cummins. Bring it to my shop. Let me drink, freaking 2 packs of Budweiser or Busch beer, and let me work on your truck half sloshed, and or even better yet, when everyone was doing the deletes, now that's all hush hush. And you know what? Keep it hush hush because screw the EPA as far as I'm concerned with some of the stupid, what do you want to? I'm trying to think of the word to call it. Oh, it starts with an H. I know it's in my head somewhere. I can't think of the name of it. The hypocrisy, whatever maybe is that the word? It's just ridiculous, the two-sidedness of it. But that being said, like when you putting your name out there and you give all these shops, those shops might also do crappy work and give Cummins a bad name too. Maybe they might not think of that, but it does eventually happen. but that being said, I've never had any real luck with Cummins. I mean, they've run good compared to most of the emission stuff out there, but the when they do have problems, they're always have been catastrophic. You know, I've had lots of problems with a pack car, a previous pack car. Yes, I did. I put a lot of money into it. Uh, but they were all problems that could be fixed. Like, you know, it didn't require removing the engine, removing the heads, um, cleaning metal out of the engines. It was all electronic bull crap on the side of the engine. It wasn't actual mechanical. Every Cummins, the Cummins has a lot of mechanical problems. Now, I'm not saying that no MX is like PACCAR MX-13s don't have any mechanical problems. I've heard that they've been having, and a lot of this I think is stemming from the pandemic. But I know they've been having problems with their fuel injector vendors, the vendors that they were using for their fuel injectors. They've been having fuel injector problems. I guess they did something with the heads. Some of the heads haven't been good, and they were made between that pandemic time and stuff. You know, we're going to end up having to deal with some of this stuff for years to come because of that fallout. Anybody? Oh, you know what? There was a guest. Jeez, I freaking forgot. It disappeared. So whoever was trying to get in, go ahead and hop in there again. I saw it. I was going to click on it, and then when you disappeared, I forgot about you again. Let's see. But yeah, that said about Cummins. I mean, you know, it's not like it used to be. It used to be you bought a truck, you could work on it very easily yourself. I mean, I guess I'll throw this in kind of like with mental health. But when you buy a truck for $40,000 or $50,000 and you go out here and you start running some freight with it, you automatically always assume that it's going to at least get you a few months or a year without any problems. But when you get it, and like 3 or 4 months later, you're sitting in dealerships doing DPF crap and stuff like that. That's very heartening. That's no matter what you're trying to do, it puts a lot of, not only has it put guys out of business, I'm sure it might have caused some other problems that, are long-term problems, if you know what I mean, out here as truck drivers. And like the whole fiasco, I could imagine when the whole international Max Force fiasco happened, like that put people's companies out, in jeopardy and stuff. But you got to always remember something. No matter how, like I go through this all the time. No matter how much you plan or how much you assume things are going to go, because you take educated risks and educated guesses on your progress. In trucking, it can always, no matter what, no matter the best plan you got, and sometimes money can't even fix some of the problems you have in trucking. You're always going to end up hitting that wall, and you have to be prepared for that, either mentally, emotionally, financially. You have to be prepared to hit that wall because it will come one day in trucking. It will come, maybe sooner, maybe later. Probably when you least expect it or need it to come. That's when you're going to get hit with it. Whether that be, a problem with your equipment, a problem with maybe like your license or something. Maybe you got a ticket, and you know what? Like even with the tickets, when I got a ticket, technically it was like for 15 over. I wasn't in a hurry. I had the truck set on like 58 or 59 mile an hour, cruising down the road, back road, middle of nowhere in Wisconsin. I wasn't in a hurry really. I've already slowed down through all the other little towns, down to 25 and 30 mile an hour. I went into a truck stop, got something to eat, used the bathroom, and when I came out, I guess the speed limit sign was right on the other side where it dropped down from 55 to 40 or whatever, or 45, I think. When I pulled out, I didn't see it. I put the cruise control back on. Nice sunny day. Just listen to my music. Go by a Wisconsin state trooper. Apparently, they can clock you when you're moving. He whipped around and got me on the other side of this so-called town, which all it was really a dairy. There was a dairy in a little old crappy municipal building. I think maybe there was 2 farmhouses on the other side of the road. It was like all the other places I passed. Yeah, did that upset me? Did that get me down? Yeah, it did. Did I fight it? Did I kind of win? Yeah, I kind of did. But stuff like that. Things are gonna pop up that are out of your control. I mean, should I have been doing 55? I mean, I could have been doing 55. I was technically I'd still been speeding, but shit happens. It's inevitable. If you've been doing trucking so long, and that the inevitable is going to happen. You are going to have that blowout one day. You are going to have emissions problems. You are going to have hit a deer or something. It's and no matter how much you plan for that problem to happen, it might not happen exactly that. Maybe you do have money. Maybe you do have. Let's say you have money put aside and you hit a deer and it really screws up the truck, screws up the radiator. Thank God I got that money set aside. Guess what? You start going around finding body shops to take care of this little problem. You're like, oh man, I'll have this truck in and out in like less than a week. Well, we're not going to be able to touch it for a month or two. What do you mean you're not going to touch it for a month? What am I going to do? You start hopping around trying to find somebody that can fix the truck in time. You might not have that truck for a month, might not have it for 3 months. No matter even if you go in there with like a stack of money, they have other customers they got to take care of, other things. It's just going to happen. You're going to run into those problems in trucking. Now, maybe you could rent a truck. Maybe you can call people that you might have a good connection with and maybe rent their truck. Maybe the insurance company can, get you a rental. But you know what? There's still even stipulations for that. You can't just, first of all, you might not be able to find a rental because a lot of these mega carriers and big companies take them all up. Secondly, they require super duper, you got to have good credit. You got to open up a line of credit with them. You got to have all your ducks in a row. You just don't go into a Penske and rent a semi truck. You can rent a box truck. You can rent one of the bigger box trucks with the lift gate, but you're to run it business wise. You're not just going to do it. Plus, you also got to think about your IFTA, your ELD, all that stuff when you go rent a truck. It turns into a big fiasco. I'm Trucking Biz. He says facts. Well, that's what I try to put out. Like I said, I don't try to sugarcoat anything. I would rather say if things are going really good for you, then that's great. But I would rather tell people the bad first and let them build their own legacy and their own future than automatically come out here thinking everything's going to be unicorns and sunshine. Let's see. F8 Trucking is in the house. The myth, the legend, or at least one of them. Always plan for the unexpected. Yes, but like I used to say there, F8, I'll give you an example for you. When you had your wheel, so when you end up having a leaky wheel seal, did you ever thought that leaky wheel seal would have took you down the road it went down? The same thing with when I guess you got hit there, and tried to have, I guess, the leak on your, what was it, on the Mac? Did you ever think it would turn into that big a fiasco? That is what I'm talking about with trucking. The guys that you see on here where everything's great, well, one, either they edit their videos very heavily, or like me. When I crashed, when I ripped the fender off this brand new truck, most guys would not put that out there. I'm gonna put it out there. Why? Because did I feel stupid? Did I screw up? Yeah, I did. But I want to I do. Everyone does the same shit. It just happens. All right. Was I super pissed off about? Oh boy, I was furious about it. I wanted to start punching myself in the balls. Put it that way. But shit happens. Even when you're not doing something, the truck would have got eventually. Somebody would have hit it or took a mirror off, or look, I already 18,000 miles. I was behind a Chevy Aveo in Ohio. Somehow a Chevy Aveo flew a little stone or something and chipped my windshield right in front of me, right where I sit. There's a little tiny chip in the windshield. 18,000 miles on the truck. Luckily, it doesn't look like it's going to grow or anything, and I'm going to probably get it filled in on safe light repairs, whatever crap. But it's shit happens. And I'll be the first to say that I freak out. I've uh, I've had borderline manic freakouts, in trucking. I've had points where I've freaking screamed at the top of my lungs. I'll give an example. A few years ago, when I was running this Cascadia that I bought before it blew up because of the Cummins engine, uh, I had the air conditioner go out. All right. And I was on a load and I couldn't take time to fix it. And it just so happens we were going through the super heat wave. And I was down in like North Carolina or South Carolina, sweating my balls off. I had a fan. I had an inverter. I unplugged the fan. All right. And I thought I turned it off. This fan's the only thing that's been keeping me cool when the window's open. All right. Now, sure, I could have went and got a hotel and stuff, but this is when rates started dying between 18 and 19. And I had the money, but I was thinking long term. I was like, if I end up buying the hotel for my 34-hour break or whatever, am I going to need that couple $100 down the road? How long, like I said, I've had bad luck before, and I will suffer to make sure I don't have to go through prolonged bad luck, if you want to call it that. I go to plug the fan back in. Guess what? I didn't turn the fan off. It arced and blew the inverter. So now I was sitting here in this hot ass truck. No, I had like a box fan, no fan, no nothing. Then I did end up going in a hotel, but I bet you everybody in that mile radius heard the the monstrous, like, I was like, can like something go right? And that's, that you end up having those days in trucking. They do happen. Uh, and like I said, that's what I mean. You got, not only do you have to take care of your mental and your physical health, you got to do that because it'll get away from you real quick. And these, like I said, the only person you have to deal with is yourself, and it can go really, really out of hand real quick. I'm not saying I'm a mental case; it just happens. Now there are people that are built differently in their head that don't have a care in the world, could care less what happens. They just walk away from everything. If you're that, great. I unfortunately not. I have that dedicated, do things right to the end mentality. And sometimes it hurts you. That's like I said, when I had the spot market and I should have left that carrier, but I felt like I had a little bit of a dedication to them. They helped me out before. They've always been good to me. I should have left earlier. Like I said, I have a problem with being dedicated to things and fulfilling, I guess, what I set out to do. Hence why I end up having a $4,000 truck payment now. I mean, I could have gave up and just went out, but me personally, do I feel like I would accomplish anything then? No. What am I going to get differently? I can pay for my own insurance. Um, there's nothing. I'll get a 401k that, look, it don't matter anyway, because if you look, I'm trying not to try to get political again, but look at what's happening in the banks. Your 401ks, your IRAs, guys, they're gonna get sucked up and used to bail all these people out again. Sorry to say, but that's what's gonna happen with all this. All right, and nobody's gonna do anything about it. If this was 1950s, 1960s, there would be a lot more uproar about it. In fact, there would be a lot more people taking action and probably on the teeter tottering of revolution or whatnot. But like I said, before I get off on, I don't want to be political. I don't want anybody to think I have a bias towards anybody. I don't. I just and people automatically assume that. I want people to get some kind of information from me. I don't want them to think that because I think a certain way I hate them or I feel a certain way about anything. I don't. I could care less. I'm bygones be bygones kind of guy so much. As long as you don't come after my family or like physically come after me or something, I could care less. Let's see. F8 still here. Never thought would have been the outcome. Yeah, never thought, like I said, with him when he got the wheel seals done and all that. He never, like I said, you experienced that stuff in trucking. If you go and check out F8's channel, you'll see that he had some work done. In fact, he had the work done in a dealership, I think, and they messed up his spindle. It happened. You would never ever think that. Yeah, he might as well just went to a TA with some guy that just got done smoking his blunt, come back and fix his truck. At that point, because that's basically, he ended up spending a lot more money and a lot more time. And you know what, people too, when you're an owner operator, you got to prepare yourself mentally for the time that you might spend sitting and stuff, for breakdowns and things. Also, you got to prepare yourself mentally for thinking about, all right, so I got money in the bank. I'm going to pay for this stuff. Oh man, I haven't worked in like 2 or 3 weeks, but I still have bills coming in. So not only are you losing your income, you're losing money out of your savings too. You got to think that when you people automatically, I got a warranty, truck breaks down, I'm good. You're good. How long are you good for? Like I said, sometimes money will not fix your problems in trucking. There's only so long you can last. Do you have a whole, like almost a full year's worth of finances sitting back to be able to bankroll your business and your home expenses? I highly doubt it unless you're a fleet, and even then, you probably don't. It just you can have that happen. It does happen in trucking. Oh, let's see. That State Life stuff actually works. I have a repair on my windshield. Yes, actually, you can go anywhere really to get it done. I just a jingle, I guess. Uh, but yes, you can. If you know what, I will tell you right now. So I had a pickup truck I got a crack. I let it go, let it go. Winter came. All right, I should have just got it fixed. Winter came. It was hot. You're not hot. It was cold, snowing. I had the defroster on all the time. I went out, warmed the truck up. Guess what happened to that crack? I mean, that little chip turned into a giant crack. I ruined the windshield. For like $60, I could have had that fixed. Now I got to buy a $300-$400 windshield. Get the damn window. If not to only have problems with the DOT, but just to, I can imagine the windshield in this next gen. I mean, it's probably the same as a normal T680. I highly doubt it's special, but you're going to spend some money. Fix your little problems first before they turn into big problems. You probably already got a big problem waiting down the road, so just get them out of the way. Like if you do, let's say you buy an old truck and you have a one wheel seal leaking, just take the bite out of it, take the bite out of your wallet, and just do them all. Same thing with brakes, same thing with chambers. Just do them all. If it's old and you don't know anything about the truck, just do them because you're gonna end up going down the road, and like I said, it's gonna affect you longer because you're gonna have to take days off. You're not gonna have income. You're gonna lose more money. Like when I got my old truck, when I went to Deltone, I felt so stupid. I almost lost a whole week just to try to pick up that old truck. I should have just paid the $3,800 and had the tow truck company tow it to Pennsylvania. Should have did it. I lost more money. I lost a whole week's worth of revenue just about. I thought I was going to save money, and I didn't because that piece of junk, it was the only tow thing I could rent around where I lived. It was a piece of junk, and it cost me time and a lot of headaches. I mean, sure, it made some good content and stuff, but at least it wasn't that boring. But it's still, like I said, sometimes you gotta bite the bullet and spend the money, and then hope you don't have something go wrong later on down. But you got to start as soon as that happens. You can't just be like, well, hon, this happened. I spent all this money. I know we have a trip to Disney World. You have to do this. I know you don't want to do it. You're going that trip to Disney World we're going to have to postpone it to next year because if anything happens, I'm going to lose my business and we're never taking no Disney World trips anymore. You just got to be flat out. Like you got to think like that. And eventually, maybe not that first year, you're going to feel like you're sacrificing that you could just be a company driver and deal with it until you are a company driver and then living paycheck to paycheck still. All right. You're going to have to sacrifice your mental well-being, your fun and everything for at least a little bit until you're able to exceed that if you have an unlucky day that you'll be fine. I'm not trying to say that to criticize anybody or say that, but I'm just saying that luck does run out. People do end up having problems. I mean, you watch Gentry and Sons and stuff. I mean, yes, he's going through a bad time now and stuff, but like everybody usually just sees the good stuff. I mean, there's other stuff that he has going on that nobody even knows about, I'm sure. Same thing with Just Trucking. And you got to be able to keep yourself in that mentality. You can't get off in Walla land and just assume that, everything's going to be great. I'm not saying that you need to assume that you're going to fail at everything you're doing, but you're going to have to at least get yourself mentally prepared for something like that. Music City Transport. Mike Cummins derated 5 times last year before. How about I read it there? It's probably a lot easier for me to do it. Yeah, derated 5 times last year before they replaced the entire engine harness, EGR valve, and a fistful of sensors. I lost 8 weeks. Oh my god. Being in the shop, then got sideswiped. Yeah, I got sideswiped and was down another 3 weeks. Just like that. Well, how about this? Anybody watch Trucking Together? Look at the problems they're having. Um, it is what it is. You know, you can't. As soon as you get out of that mentality that you're not going to always have bad luck, that's when the shit happens. Like F8, he didn't plan that to happen. He even took it to a dealership. That's what I hate when I see guys come out here and they hustle people to get them to buy their programs, hustle them to get lease purchases and stuff. Like even just because you have a lease purchase with Swift doesn't mean you're not going to have to pay anything out of your pocket. Sure, they say crap like that, but read that sit down and read that 20-page contract. Have a lawyer look over with it. You will see how messed up and stupid it is, and how they're going to probably take your, your maintenance account and crap anyway at the end. I'm not saying don't do it. I mean, if you think you got determination enough to put everything aside, your family, and work on just that, and for the final outcome, and whether or not they will put up with it too, you got to be able to focus on the final outcome and know that you're going to end up having a lot of speed bumps in your way. The minute you start getting laxy-daisy and say, man, nothing's happened, I can afford to do this, I can afford that, at least your first year or two, that's when you're going to have problems. I went through $25,000 in just crappy little side repairs on that International. Not only that, I was, that was the savings that I put away. I had to probably put another $20,000 between repairs and towing and stuff and other things that I ended up fixing myself too. That's $50,000 into a $25,000 truck. So technically, we're up at $60,000, $70,000. Sometimes it might be better just to go out and get a $60,000 or $70,000 truck, whether it has emissions or not. It's a crapshoot. Don't blame it. Don't blame yourself. Don't blame anybody else. Like hell, I had a Cummins ISX with 290,000 miles on it. The freaking fuel diaphragm went bad. Not the fuel diaphragm. The what do they call it? The fuel plungers, the ceramic fuel plungers. It had ceramic fuel. Just ruined the motor, and I barely got out of that. I lost 30 grand. I lost $30,000. I put down on that truck. I got out of it financially per se. I didn't end up owing the bank or anything. Thank you to MHC Freightliner or whoever it was, and their Freightliner, Daimler Chrysler, whatever it was, their finance company. But I lost that truck. I lost the now payment. They took the truck back. They probably put a used engine in it, and probably turned around and sold it as much as I paid for it, if not more. So, yeah, shit like that can happen. And like when F8 said that, you can kind of get down in trucking and have constant things happen over and over. You think you're going to get ahead. I know I'm not the only, some people get lucky in their funds or their stock options and who they deal with are in different places and they just don't get affected with what's happening with the economy. Me, when we had one change in presidents, you all know who I'm going to talk about. I'm not going to make any names because as soon as you say names, people start hating you. The one guy came in, a change we can believe in. My 401k, gone. Just took a shit. Lost probably like $60,000, $70,000 out of my 401k. This is before I was even in trucking. And this eventually affected my relationship with my ex-wife and everything else. It led to everything. Then, not only that, I had to take her off my insurance because of the new care policy. Because it was too much for my, I guess too much for them to handle, or somehow it split up. So she had to go take, she was working kind of part-time / full-time. So she had to go take really crappy insurance from, well, I'll say she worked for Walmart because she didn't really have to work because I brought in the beans. She just did it for something to do and extra money for her to do. And, she had health problems every once, and that added up to stuff. And, it put a stress on it. And then money problems started putting a stress on our relationship and everything. And, and shit happens. And it's the same thing, though. It seems like now every couple of years, this repetitive cycle that we're in. I guess technically I'm a millennial. It gets hard. Now I kind of understand why some of these millennials want to become socialists, but that's not the solution. The solution is to fix the problem we have. And the problem we have is we're not running capitalism like a run. Now that we're going to bail out all these banks again, supposedly. we're let them fail. They screwed up. The same thing with the trucking industry. There are just people that make bad choices and have bad luck, and it is what it is. When you start, making a level playing field for everything, you bring people that work really hard down, and you bring people that don't work hard up. It's kind of almost like how like a modern day union works now, and then it affects everything as a whole because they're still getting, they're doing better than, one side's doing better than they were doing, but they're still have no mentality to work, to care less, and the other side's being penalized, so now they stop working too, and the whole system comes crashing down. I mean, I'm sorry to try to. I'm trying to still try. What I'm trying to say, I'm trying to stay on topic. I'm getting ahead of myself. I don't want to try to go off in these tangents because, like I said, I know for a fact when I get political, it affects the way people view me, and I don't want it to because, like I said, I'm not. Like I said, I'm more of a middleman, um, and I don't want people to view me in a bad light. And that's usually what happens when you get political. And I'm trying not to do that right now. Um, but so that's basically the rundown, I guess, of mental health. I mean, I haven't got into anything per se. I kind of, you know, I know I don't have a lot of people viewing right now. I mean, when I'm done, it'll probably be like 100 or 200 views. But in fact, I don't even know. There's probably somebody on. Probably DIY jumped on, or Cash is King, or somebody else did, or James Best. I don't know. But what I'm trying to say is don't let your problems. I don't need these now. Don't let your problems affect your business outcome, your relationships with your wife and stuff. Don't let all this negative energy in trucking or anything in life. Don't let it build up to the point where you know it it affects you that much that you can't function or anything anymore. Let me plug this in real quick. Um, because I've seen it happen to guys out here. I've seen guys have like schizophrenic breakdowns in front of their truck and it just happens. And like nothing about trucking anymore is yeah, exactly 53. Exactly. Yeah, let's just walk out. Don't take any questions. The whole thing might be collapsing here. But anyway, um, what was I trying to say? As I'm trying to watch this guy try to almost back into me. Okay. Um, Concentrate on, don't necessarily concentrate on everybody else's good, what they're doing. Like people think I'm doing good. Yeah, I might look like I'm doing good on YouTube. I'll admit right now, I have a tax problem. I got a lot of bad information in the beginning when I was an operator. I have a tax problem. That weighs on me somewhat. As long as you file your taxes, though, you don't have really too much of a problem. But I'm paying that. I have a lot of my own little problems. Does that make me a bad guy per se? You know, as far as I'm concerned, the things I'm paying taxes for ain't gonna benefit me usually anyway in the long run. So, um, but it's not that I wasn't trying to pay taxes. I was just trying to make sure I didn't pay a lot of taxes, and I, might have gotten caught. Like I said, I've had bad information. I didn't know better. I never really even ran a business before that, and I got bad information. And then I've had, on top of that bad information, I've had uh, some tax accountants, like the one recently. She put my taxes on the back burner. The last communication I had was pretty recent, with near the end of the deadline, and I thought she had everything all situated and out, and she forgot to file my taxes. Hey, shit happens. Um, am I gonna let that drive me up a wall? But like it's I just wanted to put that out there. If anybody's watching YouTube and stuff, and they think that all these YouTube guys and what the hell's my dashboard lighting up for? Okay, dashboard lit up with the mileage and everything showed up on it and all kinds of weird stuff. I don't know what that was, but they watch these YouTubers and they just expect that they have no problems, that they can't do wrong. Um, especially like guys like Just Trucking and stuff. I'm sure he has his problems too. And, my dog. It's just you can't let yourself get into that mentality of no matter what you do, you're going to make money. Like when the spot market was doing phenomenal, guys were buying bass boats. They're buying side by sides, pickups. The people are spending money like no tomorrow. I don't care. I can buy that $200,000 truck. I'm making $5 a mile. I'm not going to think long term or what could or couldn't happen. And I'm sorry to say, money, your mental well being, and maybe even your health go hand in hand. It just is. It is. It's the kind of environment we live in where we're isolated from a lot of stuff. And I just want to let guys know that there are solutions for it. You just got to be determined and not view it as not view it that you're trying to win a war. You just got to win a few battles, and eventually you will win the war. The same thing with the finance and the problems with the truck and stuff. If anything, if you're worried that if you have an old truck and you got just so happens you're doing well and you got some money laying around, or you got some off time, and you're worried about, I mean, not only do you have to worry about the engine blowing up, but you have to worry about small maintenance items and stuff. Just get it out of the way. If you could afford it, get it out of the way. Sure, you might watch your bank account drop down. You might not be able to go buy, I don't know, the side by side or put the down payment on the Hellcat or something you're looking at. But you're going to have that stability. You're going to have that knowledge that when you're driving down the road, well, unless you end up taking it to the dealership F8 took it to, your truck's going to be fine. 53 step. This trucking dude, when it's good, it's good. When it's bad, it's freaking bad. Yes. When it's good, it's good. And when it's bad, it's freaking bad usually. Or it gets bad. You kind of get ready to get yourself with a hole, and then it gets really freaking bad. Like I said, when my truck blew up, if that truck would have lasted 2 or 3, 4 more weeks, not even that, maybe 2 or 3 weeks, if it blew up, I'd have been like, oh man, I'm gonna get the damn truck towed up to Pennsylvania. Let me go in there and let me go find my buddy over there and talk to U.S. Truck Parts over in Hazleton for like $10,000, $15,000. They would have freaking slapped the engine out of it, and yeah, I would have been good to go. Now, could I have done that with my personal savings? I probably wouldn't have a wife. But yeah, I could have. I could have done that with my personal savings. That too, guys. You gotta separate that stuff. You gotta know when to fold, because if you go crazy, all right, and you don't have your savings and your personal savings and your business stuff separated, and you just go and randomly don't tell the wife anything or anything. You just start pulling money out and doing things, thinking frantically, not thinking. You will do a lot more than not only ruin your business credit and your business. You'll ruin your life. Like you could, it'll get bad. Now, like I said, luckily I know enough not to do that, and we had conversations about it and stuff. And you know what? I sold my pride and joy, which was my pickup truck, to continue on doing what I was doing. You might have to do that too. Sure, I'm not going to have a pickup truck for a while. If I really want to right now, I can go out and get I could probably put like 7 or 8 grand, 10 grand down on a new pickup truck and go buy it and have those payments on top of this truck payment and everything. I could do that right now if I wanted to. But am I going to drive it once in a while? Maybe it might drive like 10, 15 times, a month, maybe at most. For what? So that my neighbors can see I have a new truck. They already talk about this thing that's new. It's I don't really necessarily need it. I'll probably end up just buying myself like a good $700 beater Ram or something, or Silverado. It's in decent shape. I don't need it this time. Now, like I said, if I've got to the point, like let's say, who was I dealing with the other night? I can't believe I forgot his name because I said his name like 100 times. Anywho, if I can't, like I said, I can't believe I forgot his name. If you get to the point where you have a fleet and you're home a lot and stuff, yeah, you can buy yourself nice things. You should use your money, but don't overextend yourself. Like I said, I take a lot of Dave Ramsey's teachings to heart. Probably would have been a little bit better if I did it when I was younger and when I first started owner operator, because I probably would have put myself in the place I did with the taxes and stuff. But you live and you learn. As long as you don't continue down that road, it can be beneficial to you long term. Trucking reviews. What's up, yo? What is up? We are just I don't know. Um, just doing a little segment on, I guess, mental well-being and trucking, weight loss. And it's kind of gone off on a couple different tangents. I'm just waiting for the okay to see if my load is done here. Let me actually see here real quick. I'm gonna jump out here real quick. I'm gonna check this text message. Uh, let's see. Okay. Wow, it's hard to. There we go. Let's get back there. Huh. Let's see. I guess now the lightning's bad. The sun went down. Um, but that was dispatch. I was just checking to see if this load was done, and technically my appointment's 8 o'clock. I mean, I should probably start getting. I'm like right down the road from the like 15, 20 minutes down the road from the facility, but um, it's not going to matter. I would rather sit here at the truck stop than sit there and kill time because I don't necessarily have to be there. As long as I'm there when the load's done, I can pick it up and take it. It's just going down to DC here in Pottsville, so that's a nice thing too about this. When it's like internal and stuff, I mean, like I have no stress in this at all. It's almost like it, it's almost like being a company driver. Uh, you got a little bit more going on than that, but still, it's if you can ever get yourself set up with a dedicated account or a dedicated customer, as long as you can keep them happy and keep your paperwork in check and you know your safety score in check and your guys and your payroll. Like I said, a lot of that too. A lot of guys end up putting too much on themselves. When you get big enough that you can afford to pay some of that, or if you're still even trying to drive, just pay for it. Find a good company, pay for it, get that stress off your back, because then you start messing up and it just turns into a big shitstorm. Start missing guys' checks and stuff. Just paid a little bit of extra money. Because I was trying to do payroll by myself there for a while. Still drive the truck, still dispatch and everything, and I ended up finding how cheap payroll companies really are, especially now with you get into like the automated ones with the guys log in, they put their password in, and not only are they logging in their ELD, but they're logging in their time clock. They have everything right on their phone. It just makes everything easier than me having to print stuff out, write checks, log the checks in, and take it and log it in with the bank. It just makes life a lot easier. So I mean, if you get that big, I have, like I said, I've kind of been pretty decent sized before. I at least had 3 employees, well, two slash kind of third part time guy. But like I said, I've hit some road bumps in my life. And it continuously happens. So not only have I had problems, personally, but like the outside world has affected my finances and my outcome on look on things before. Um, Now some people don't have that. So like I said, it's about who you know, your connections. Like I said, sometimes all the money in the world that you have, you can throw it at a problem, and it's either not gonna build you more business or it's not gonna fix your problem, per se. Hydrate. Um, so I guess let's say it's like I said, it's 8 o'clock. I'm gonna pretty much I'm gonna get off here, and unless I get over there and I find out this load's gonna take forever to still be done, um, or unless dispatch texts me here in a little bit that it's probably going to still be a little bit longer. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to get off here. I've already talked long enough. If you find this or you do this video on the replay, like I said, um, you could always kind of reach out to me either through email. You know, I'm kind of part of a community. You know, you got DIY Semi, you got Cash is King, you got F8. I'm not saying like a hotline for mental issues per se. Okay, I mean if you're already that far off the rocker, I mean, you know, you're gonna need some professional help and somebody that, you know, because I don't want to take on that responsibility. No offense to anybody, but like I said, it's you know, trucking's tough. Sometimes you need to walk away, take a break, and come back at it. But that's like with any business you do. Any business can be stressful like that. But trucking's particularly bad because you're isolated. You're isolated with you and your thoughts, and that's it. And you know, I'm not saying I'm like a whack job or I've had problems. You know, I'm not saying that we all have. But don't view yourself as that. Don't view yourself as a whack job. You know, people's gone through all kinds of bad things. Just like I said, take a chill, get out, walk around, start eating healthy, get rid of the carbs and stuff. Um, hey, thank you, Rig Pig. Thank you. And just look at your situation in a different light. Like I said, don't bash your wife with your problems. Be a man. Take care of your own stuff. I mean, I'm not saying, you know, if you do some stupid stuff and like refinance your house or remortgage your house, then yeah, you probably should let your wife know because she should probably kill you. But you know, it's different. If you already have a business and like a legit business, and you're trying to pull it out of the hole, and you got multiple trucks, and you've already kind of got to the point where if you fail, you're gonna go way backwards in the hole, and like you're gonna get your cars repossessed and everything. Yes, that's when you start taking risks like that. But for one stupid truck, or God forbid, if you've got like a lease purchase or something, and they're trying to tell you, you know, you got to pay us back or something like that, don't put yourself in that situation. Um, yeah, and that's pretty much it. So let me read these last few comments in here. Uh, oh, okay, yeah, I'll read that. I'm business trucking. What payroll company? Uh, what payroll company you issuing using? You mean what payroll company I've used? Um, let's see. I'm trying to think of the name. Man, it's been a little bit. I think Paychex. Paychex. I didn't use Paychex, but I recommend Paychex. There's a separate company within Paychex that I know has been really good for trucking. I'm trying to think of the name of it. I know they got like a green logo. They have like a green, but there's a spinoff of the Paychex company that I know does really good with trucking. Um, I can't think of the name of it though offhand. See, this is when I have questions, you know, get answered questions, and I don't have internet and stuff. This is when I get a little frustrated. But I know that the actual payroll company I was using was a Silicon Valley based, unfortunately, Silicon based Paychex company. It was all automated through the phone. Man, I can't believe I can't remember them. I know they had a little pig for their emblem because I know every time I logged in, the little pig would oink and it would like bounce around. They used to have a lot of commercials too. I can't believe I forgot all that stuff. I guess I put it all behind me. So, I mean, if I had to start, I could probably find it. Like if I Googled it right now, I'd probably find it in like 10 seconds. But some of the payroll services I know I kind of would not get into, or like super big, humongous. I mean, Paychex is a pretty big one, but I mean, this is like a separate, smaller division of them. But like, I would not get into like ADP or whatever. You know, when your bank like tries to offer you paycheck companies and stuff. Also, though, everything I paid my guys hourly. They were hourly, or if they had breakdowns, they got a certain salary or whatnot, because they were home pretty much every night, and they knew that if they ended up taking their 10-hour break or they had to take their 34-hour, I gave them like a couple $100 or what I have in this. I think I gave like $150 for a 34-hour break and like $80 for an unattended. Like we knew he wasn't like they're not going to do it. 10-hour break if I remember correctly. And, you got to write all that stuff up. Especially when you get with W-2 employees, you got to follow the laws of your state and federal and everything like that too. So there's, well, one day I'll try to go through it, what I can remember. I mean, I probably didn't do things 100% right either. Spectre, that's who I had on the other night. And he has multiple, owner operators working under his authority. He probably would know more than that. I think he even had probably employees maybe there. He knew a lot about that stuff too. He is in it right now. He's in the deep of it with running his business. If you can check his podcast out or maybe try to get a hold of him somehow, that's probably the best bet. Like I said, I'm kind of out of it. And this was probably like what 2017, 2018. I had employees or whatnot. I'm busy trucking. Yeah, no problem. So I'm gonna get off here, guys. Have a good night. If you know anybody that's having a hard time or whatever, help them out the best they can. If not, point them in a good direction, like DIY, Cash King, F8, me. There's tons of decent channels out there, and yeah, I'll catch everyone later sometime. So have a good night, guys. See you.